You were talking about that, and kids in your school district are fortunate that they have some access to these kind of programs. But a lot of our kids are in public schools, and they really don't probably get that kind of exposure that your students are lucky to get. So if you're a parent and you want to see your child make a positive, creative, productive use of technology, what are some tips?
It's a good question, Vidya, because it's not, actually I would say it's not to do with the schools, because you may be sending your child to a private school and you have perhaps even better access to technology and better programs, just like, we just heard from Vijay here. But the point is that still you're trying to get your child to develop a kind of a healthy approach to technology, how to use it, when to use it. And I think like everything else for parents, it goes back to being a role model. So I think many times I've seen parents, the amount of usage we do of our emails and our phones, I think we are guilty, and sure. I've seen this, standing in a grocery store, a kid is trying to get the mom's attention and she's too busy texting, or, at a house, their parents are like, oh, no, I got to send one more email. And so I do it all the time, so I'm just as guilty. And the point is that we are, how much technology do you use, when do you use it? That is something we can't ask our children when we don't necessarily do it. So being a role model. The other role model I think is important just as much is to be in a learning mode. Yes, our kids are exposed to technology from way younger, but there's so much of it and there's always something to learn. So as parents, show your child that you're learning something. You don't sit there and just do Facebook and email, which is fantastic. I'm glad. But everybody, each one of us can learn something, and there's so much information out there, whether it's, YouTube videos or whatever it is, or taking a class. If you show that you're learning and you're doing something with technology, technology is bringing us back into the classroom every day because it keeps changing, right? So that will show your child that, that's something I can be learning. It's not just consuming the information. Do
you have some actual programs that you would suggest for the home environment that parents can use to get that jump start on using computers creatively? Absolutely.
I think just during the break we were talking, when we were talking with Vijay, one of the programs that she uses in her is, turtle graphics or logo. This is, very basic programming skills. And and the program that I use in my schools is something called Scratch.
Yes,
and it comes from MIT. And it's a very simple visual block, drag and drop program. And kids are today playing games. How about you make your own game?
Exactly.
And that gets the kids going, and people say, oh no, I cannot be a programmer. I cannot. No, you can, because ultimately programming is breaking down anything you do into steps. So if you can break something down and explain it to someone else, you can program. And parents will say, well, I don't have classes, I don't have, what do I do? Well, I would say log on, and there are enough tutorials. You can work with your child. In fact, you can learn with your child. It's a very nice family bonding thing to do.
And as Vijay was talking about earlier about educational programming, even that long ago, I think the opportunities in educational programming software that makes boring stuff fun is just out there. I know my family has introduced a math program that rewards the child for every answer she gets correct. Maybe whether that's a good incentive system and whether that's the way we should be doing it is another question altogether. But if you want your child to be a little more interested in math, then it can be in the form of a game, and she won't even realize that she's learning, or he or she is learning at that point. So maybe, explore some of those kind of educational software which makes it fun as well.
Right. And in fact, even you don't even have to go all the way to programming. I mean, one of the things the other day I walked into one of my school labs, and the kids were playing what was a game called Whiz Ball. I think it's on Discovery Kids.
Okay.
So it's just a puzzle game. Okay. So what I found interesting about it is that not only do you solve puzzles, you have to, a ball has to drop and you have to go through a whole bunch of stuff. So it's like physics actually. But you can create your own puzzle. So suddenly that you're not always in
You're not passive. You're not reacting.
Yeah, it's exactly. You're not just being the one who's consuming it. You are suddenly in control. You may not be a computer programmer. You're not going to be able to, make Angry Birds and make lots of money overnight. But
though I believe making apps is probably one of the most
yes, it is. Absolutely,
growing business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of teenagers into programming because they're all going to make lots of money.
Yeah.
That's what they think. But the point is that even something like that simple game, I mean, I walked in, they were, I think, second and third graders, and all they're doing is drag drop a bunch of these little, devices, and then they design the circuit or the maze and how will the ball move, whether it'll bounce, whether it'll roll down, whether it'll go through a, loop. They are designing the game, and then they put it up, and someone else across the room plays that game. And
that's very
that
satisfying.
feeling of satisfaction, and then you can rate it. And suddenly, Scratch has the same thing as a community. And when the children post it, you suddenly have other children. Oh my God, he played my game. He did this. How is that? That excitement builds up.
So you're having it virtually rather than physically.
Yes.
And I know both of you are computer teachers, so obviously you're biased towards that a bit.
Of course, yeah, we are.
So here's the thing. I mean, in a less technological environment, they may have been doing it physically.
Right.
And I do know with my own daughter, I see the evolution from a non-technical person, technology friendly person to because when she was younger, and she's 9 now, but maybe when she was 5, her games with her friends would be they would play spies, or they would play gardening or something, and they would always make a note on a piece of paper. There was a lot of paper, pen, cardboard, colors involved.
Right.
Now it's one has a DS, the other has a DS, and they're sending stuff across. And yes, they're probably creating. It is. But it's a very different kind of creativity. Good or bad, it seems to be the way things are moving. But I have to say, I'm a little nostalgic for those days when you were building things physically, right? With your hands.
Yes. And I think there's always still a connection to having something physical, and I think it goes back to the generation gap, right? We have to accept the fact that yes, they will build with little cardboard pieces and design paper dolls one day, and then next day they are now going to make a virtual doll. It's going to be on the iPad, and then they can mail, their cousin who lives in New York could be playing with them, which is an amazing thing.
Yeah, so that is
suddenly there's a different angle to it. Yeah,
certainly, and we all know how Skype has completely revolutionized the whole interaction with children and their grandparents back in India. Everybody is on it. So yes, there is.
Don't forget FaceTime.
Yes, absolutely.
We have so many Apple users out there. So let's not offend them. But talking about kinesthetic, you bring that up, and I find that because somehow I think a lot of these children right now, if they use most of these devices, they're losing some of the other kinesthetic skills.
As you said, maybe they will evolve to
that is what I'm
two
saying.
fingers.
Exactly. So,
but there is sometimes ways to connect the two. I mean, I've seen there are programs, even with Scratch, you can actually buy a little, of course, unfortunately, you have to spend money then, like Lego robotics, for example.
Right.
So Lego has come out with an application which is for younger kids called Lego Redo, where you have little motors and you write your program in Scratch, and suddenly you can have your Lego come to life because you've programmed it.
So
there is a combination of bringing the programming on one side and then the physical on the other side. So you there is a happy medium, I think so.
And we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the challenges with technology exposure to young kids and offer some tips on how we're going to take care of that. Once again, our call-in number is 770-1550, and give us a call.
Welcome back to the ICC Parent Talk. Here are some of the ICC's upcoming events and programs. Join us for the International Junior and Cadet Championship, November 5th and 6th at the ICC Table Tennis Center. Learn more about the BART Clipper card change that will affect seniors on November 12th at 10 a.m. at the ICC. Come by the first meeting of the ICC's book club on November 16th at 7 p.m. The book being discussed is The White Tiger by Arvind Adiga. The new Consul General of India, Shri N. Parthasarthi, will be addressing the community at the ICC on November 17th at 7 p.m. An introduction to Ayurveda lecture will be held on November 17th at 7:30 p.m. Please save the date for the following events. Kids Ornament Decorating on December 11th. ICC's New Year Eve's Bash, December 31st. High School Dance Off on Feb 26th. Kids Art Contest, March 4th. Youth Sava, March 31st. For more information on all the events and programs at the India Community Centre, please log on to www.indiacc.org. Thank you.
पागल अनुकन प्यार दिल में कितने हैं न्यूट्रॉन इलेक्ट्रॉन नीले नैनों में बोलो कितने हैं कैसा है खुमार रहती है तू ही यादों सपनों में Hey you सन्ना सन्ना तू ही बता राज रूप का है क्या न्यूटन कह सके दिल ये काहे डोल दिन रतिया तेरी आंखों की झिलमिल का राज है क्या राज रूप का है क्या
तुम तो हो दीवाने बड़े साजन मुझे हो हिसाबों में हरदम मन में धीम तुम तो मन में सरगम धीमे लबों का संगम बाजे दिल में निर्दम धीम तुम मन में सरगम
ओ तेरे प्यारा तेरा गुस्सा भी हो तेरे महक तेरी फूल गुलाबी हो तेरे प्यारा तेरा गुस्सा भी हो तेरे महक तेरी फूल गुलाबी तितली कोई कच्ची कच्ची कलियों पे बैठे क्यों ऐसे जले गुल उनकी लगन झूठी सच्ची प्यार की करता है ऐसी क्यों ये भूल
बहते हुए पानी में ऑक्सीजन होती कहाँ कम गाते हुए दिल ही में आशाएं भरी हरदम
आसरे आजा प्यार हम पल में कर ले सदियों का हम तुम हो आ जाना
साजन प्यारा प्रिय तेरे अपनी बहती आँखों के रास्ते चलते तेरा समय तो दिल को दे
सजनी प्यारी तेरी अदाओं जैसे लम्हे हुए हैं छोटे प्यार हम ज्यादा सा कैसे करें तेरे प्यारा तेरा गुस्सा भी हो तेरे महक तेरी फूल गुलाबी हो तेरे प्यारा तेरा गुस्सा भी हो तेरे महक तेरी फूल गुलाबी
Welcome back to ICC Parent Talk with your host Vidya. If you're just tuning in, today's topic is kids and technology, and we've had two guests on the show so far who have talked about some of the productive, challenging, interesting ways of use for our kids to use technology and for our parents to support that kind of creative use. And while that's all well and good, we know exactly how